Hey guys, Matt here, inventor of the Flame Guardian. I want to do a video just to just I guess bring everyone up to speed, sort of like what my intentions were, where I sort of come from, like why I invented the Flame Guardian. And I guess like my journey probably starts off probably similar to everyone. Yeah, you buy a new laser, you buy usually a K40. I think everyone starts with, but yeah, you start making a few things, you're figuring it out. You go to the Facebook groups and you start learning from other people's experience, see what they're making. Sort of like you get the bug, you know. Um, but I guess like looking at some of these groups, there are quite a lot of people in there, and I guess like one thing that really stood out for me very early on was a surprising frequency, I guess, of like lasers that have been burnt out, burnt to the ground. Sometimes people lose more than their lasers, but I guess like for me, this wasn't something I was anticipating seeing. You know, probably naive, I guess, at the start, but yeah, it quickly sort of woke me up to the dangers that are involved with lasers. You know, a lot of people probably do underestimate like the potential for fires with lasers, but I guess like for me it's really stuck, and I never really got comfortable with it. So I guess talking about fires specifically on lasers, I guess like the common advice is to like always watch your machine or never leave your laser unattended. You know, that's like rule number one. Everyone says this. In theory, this is good. This is good advice in theory. You know, it makes sense. Always watch your machine. Never leave it. Never leave it alone. But really, like once you start using laser for a while, you get over the initial, I'm going to watch it do everything, and I guess you start doing bigger jobs. You start doing jobs that might take, depending how big your laser is, like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours even. You know, and I guess yeah, I pretty quickly realized that never leaving your laser unattended for any second. This is practically it isn't reasonably practicable. I guess reason being is that we are humans. We have human needs. You know, like there's other things going on in our lives. We can't stand there like robots for a couple of hours watching a machine run. So we might have kids who need attention. We might need to. The doorbell might ring. We might need to go to the toilet. We might be setting up other jobs or whatever. We might get bored. We might just like look at our phone for a second. You know, like there's all these other things that like distractions that get in the way of this rule number one. You know, so yeah. I guess The next learning was like looking at people's experiences. They say, oh, you know, my laser caught on fire. I only stepped away for like a minute or a couple of seconds or whatever. I come back and the thing's well alight. And hey, I don't know what happened, but I was cutting acrylic at the time or something like that. So I did kind of get the idea that like laser fires, they can take off quickly. Thinking about laser, I guess like it's probably fair to, it's probably a good comparison to compare a laser to an incinerator. You know, like you have an ignition source, you have plenty of fuel, you have a lot of airflow, which is going to keep fire well stoked. You know, it's going to take off if a fire does start inside. And just thinking about myself, like I guess like Murphy's Law would dictate, as soon as you walk away from your laser, that's when it's gonna take off. You know, so and the last sort of learning that I've put down here is whenever someone does put a picture up of their machine burnt out, I guess like the haters will roll in and they're quickly blamed. Hey, you didn't follow rule number one. And I guess this doesn't really do anything to prevent like laser fires in the future. Like we all know, we're gonna get back on the horse. We're gonna have another crack at lasers again. And I guess like we're still human. The same dynamics are there. We're gonna be distracted. As much as we say we don't, like we are gonna be distracted. And there needs to be. Yeah, for me, I really thought this time like there has to be a better solution than what people are doing right now. Some pictures. I mean, like, I know you've all probably seen these types of pictures before. These ones here, I've just been gathering in the last couple of weeks. Like it's the same story every time. Like, look at the lasers. Like, they're burning out. Like, the fires coming out the top. It's busted all the glass or acrylic or whatever it is. Things are wrecked. Like, they're write-offs. So yeah, no surprise for you there, I guess. So like my motivations for wanting to do something, I guess, like I looked at what are the risks, and the primary, the major risk is like the risk to persons, like the risk to myself and other people within the building or my home or whatever. Like that is the big risk. Second, the laser and premises. So yeah, the laser is an investment too. Like, no one wants to see the laser burnt out. Like we really, if we're on point, we should be trying to protect our laser too. If you're using your laser for like a small business, like most people are, if your laser gets burnt out, there's probably going to be an impact to your business. You're probably going to be losing money. You're probably going to have to contact all your customers, give them refunds, tell them what's going on, and then I guess like there's probably a bit of reputation loss for your business too. Like, oh, did you hear so and so had a fire? Oh yeah, I wonder what happened there. Well, that's a problem. And then the final one was like, yeah, small fires. There is potential to damage jobs. Like, hey, you've been running the job for like an hour and a half, and towards the end the thing just starts up, so if you were aware, potentially, like, you could save jobs if you could intervene early enough. So yeah, looking at like the existing safety controls that people have, and it's well established that like we will, hey, install a smoke detector above your laser. Yep, makes sense. Get a fire extinguisher. Yep, makes sense. Yep. Ensure there's minimal fuel in the laser, in the cutting area, so if fire does start, it doesn't have so much fuel, But I guess like when you think about smoke detectors and these machines that you see here, so the smoke detectors have probably been activated for these machines. Reason being, the fire's got so intense, it's burnt through the glass or acrylic cover, and the flames have like burst out, and eventually that smoke detector has got some smoke in front of it, because I guess the flames are that extreme that the extraction fan can't pull all the smoke out. So it's churning by the time the smoke detector sings. Fire extinguishers, yeah. So by the time you need to use a fire extinguisher, reasonably, your laser's done. Like really what you're doing at that point, you're trying to prevent your home from burning down. Like, and I don't think, for me, if you need to pick up a fire extinguisher, you're already too late. Is my thoughts on that. And reason being, like, if you can be made aware of a fire when it's just starting out, like all big fires were small at one stage. If you can quench it, put it out when it's small, you don't need an extinguisher, and you can avoid all of the other mess. So I guess like what I'm saying is like speed of your reaction time is going to matter when it comes to fires. Then I guess like maybe like many others, like I took to Google and looked to like, oh, what are there any solutions for this? Like, because yeah, smoke detector's not sufficient. Fire extinguisher's not really sufficient either at preventing this stuff from happening. So, and there are some options on the market. So you have like really cheap little bores like this, which will detect flames. You've got expensive, more professional ones, and other bits and pieces. So there's a lot of sensors out there. They're all different prices. But to be honest, like a sensor itself is not enough. You need some like control electronics to make a decision, like when should you alert a user. Like these things have to be connected to a buzzer. These have some kind of microcontroller running the show, like making that decision. They don't have it. You need to do a lot more integration to make any of these sensors actually alert you of a fire. So yeah, there's not really anything out there that will do this job that we need. So for me, I'm a bit of background information from me. Like I do work on electronics as part of my career. I guess I have a little bit of knowledge in this area, and I kind of set about. I thought like, okay, there's nothing out there, and I'm definitely concerned about it. I think it's a real issue. I want to make something that's gonna alert me when a fire kicks off, you know. So, and I thought about what are the important things that it needs to do. So, number one, it needs to be sensitive enough to trigger on small flames. Like I was saying before, we want to pick up on a fire before it's a big deal. We want to pick up on it before we need a fire extinguisher. When we can have a little flame, we can just open the door, blow it out, no issue, you know. The device needs to audibly alert me when I'm in the vicinity of the machine. So yeah, I might be distracted with other things, but I'm always listening, you know. Like if I'm in the same room or if I'm just outside the door, you know, I'll be able to hear something. Hey, this thing's singing. Got to get in there. Got to see what's going on, you know. So and the third one, the device needs to have like some kind of reasonable range of like looking at the whole beds, like saying like minimal sort of blind spots. It needs to be able to detect a flame sort of like anywhere inside the laser, you know. So those are the three things that I thought were important. Okay, yeah, so this is my device. I named it Flame Guardian. It will monitor infrared light inside your laser. So just for those who don't know, infrared light is given off by fire. It's also given off by the sun and some types of internal lighting. For example, incandescent globes or fluoro lighting are sometimes sources of infrared. In general, LED lighting, which most people have, will not emit infrared. So one thing to take into account when looking at infrared light, throughout the day, as we all know, the sun comes up, the sun goes down. This will have an effect on the ambient infrared light levels. So for that reason, this device will auto-calculate or recalculate itself every 5 minutes to try and adapt for those changing infrared light levels. It is highly sensitive to infrared light. We have tested this on a machine with a 1300mm bed. It was able to detect a cigarette lighter anywhere on the bed at the time, so it is quite sensitive, but also it is adjustable with our with the application I've made as well. One thing to note: false triggers, they can occur. It's entirely normal. Anyone who's used a laser for any period of time will know that flame ups do occur every now and then. It's usually a product of, say, you haven't got enough airflow, or maybe your cut speed's too low, or there's a few other things that can sort of cause this. But for me personally, I would prefer to know when I am getting these small flame ups, so I can sort of keep an eye on the machine and possibly intervene early to prevent a fire from happening. One thing about the Flame Guardian, if you do, say you're operating a laser, say you do open a door or open a window and let more infrared light in, that will potentially set off the Flame Guardian. But good news, there's one little button on the front of the Flame Guardian, and this button here will trigger a recalculation of the ambient infrared levels just by pushing the button. So if you push it, you'll see the main LED will turn orange, will recalculate, and then you'll be all good to go again. Yeah, as said before, it is sensitive to sunlight and other sources of infrared light. So, but yeah, this is my device. I'm really passionate about it. I mean, I really would like to think that it can be a good tool which will help save some people's machines. You know, like, it's not for everyone. Some people don't think they need anything in addition to what they currently have. For me, I enjoy the peace of mind. I also find it quite important to prevent a fire. I mean, for me, maybe I worry more than other people, but for me, it's important to have. It's a tool we've never really had in the laser community before. And I really hope that, for whoever's watching this, I really hope that you make up your own mind. You decide if it's for you, if it's not for you, it's all good. carry on. But if it is for you and you do choose to purchase this, if you have any troubles, please let me know. I'm always there to help. As I said before, like, I'm really passionate about this. I really want it to work for everyone. This isn't just a gimmick. This is something I want people to use, and hopefully save themselves a lot of trouble. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.